Nope. Forget the theme song. I don't want to spend any more time on this piece of shit than I have to. Drake and Josh.
I never thought that it'd be so simple, but
Created by Dan Schneider and running from 2004 until 2007 with a reunion movie in 2008, Drake and Josh starred Drake Bell and Josh Peck as two stepbrothers who are polar opposites living together after their parents got married, and their opposing personalities usually led to some sort of hijinks. Think The Odd Couple, the millennial version. Oh, right. I like to consider this show the live-action version of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, in that most of the time the show was funny and charming and didn't make you want to kill most of the characters. However, there were quite a number of bad episodes that all failed because they were mean-spirited. However, whereas Foster's mean-spirited nature came from many different sources, Drake and Josh's problems can pretty much be summed up in one single word.
Make it!
Drake and Josh's little sister Megan, played by Miranda Cosgrove, is one of the worst characters ever written for television. She is a manipulative, evil, psychotic, horrendous piece of filth that would make Rosalind say she needs to tone it back. But she's just a sweet, innocent little bullshit. This little bitch needs to die, or at the very least be given a stern talking to. There are quite a few episodes, not all of them bad, that show how horrible this little girl is. Peruvian Puff Pepper, Megan's Revenge, The Great Doheny, My Dinner with Bobo, Alien Invasion, but there is one episode that pisses me off more than the others, and that is the Season 3 episode, Sheep Thrills. I'm not gonna lie, this episode's going to involve a lot of nitpicking, mostly because the episode is just generic and boring, but it'll be all worth it when we get to the end.
You know, it's amazing how much we can learn from animals.
Shut up, Josh. Alright, my joking aside, this is easily the best part of the episode. The characters are on point, it's funny, and it's a nice setup for what the episode is supposed to be about. Notice I say supposed to.
You know, it's amazing how much we can learn from animals.
Just keep that in the back of your mind. I'll bring it up later. And also, since I have to nitpick, if you won that goldfish at the fair last summer, then that goldfish is dead. The episode starts proper with the Hellspawn asking Drake to help her pull a prank on Josh, using a boombox that fires paintballs.
Okay, how did you get a boombox to fire paintballs?
I know a guy.
Take notes, kids. If you know anyone who could turn a boombox into a weapon, that person is probably a serial killer.
Wait a second, how do I know you're not just gonna pull your little prank on me?
Drake, if I were gonna pull the prank on you, would I tell you about it?
Hey guys, it's time to play a little game called Guess the Joke! Alrighty, do you guys think that Megan will A, shoot Drake instead of Josh? Of course she will! Hey guys, quick note on the basics of comedy. If you reveal the joke, it ruins the joke! And then, because everything in the universe hates me, she hits Josh. See why I hate this character yet? Oh, and by the way, this scene is completely pointless. After the theme song, we go into Drake and Josh's room where Josh is helping Drake study for a test. They then hear something in the garage and assume it's a burglar.
An intruder! We better go wake up Dad.
Yeah, I don't think a burglar's gonna be afraid of a weatherman wearing footsie pajamas.
Pajamas!
Or you could get both your parents, strength in numbers, or possibly call the police. No, they decide to go look for themselves, Drake taking a golf club and Josh taking an air freshener because... comedy? They go into the garage where they bump into each other and start fighting. This may have actually been funny if they did it in pitch black and used sound as a joke, sort of that Jaws principle but funny, but instead I can see them and their fight isn't really anything that special. Eventually they get the bright idea to turn on the lights and they see a sheep. Megan comes in and reveals that it's hers.
Yes, he's mine. Are you okay, Bob?
I hope you enjoyed that joke because they repeat it about 24 times.
Bob, Bob.
Bob. Bob. Bob.
Bob.
It is one of the most annoying running gags I have seen in any TV show. Megan tells them she bought the sheep on the internet and asks Drake and Josh if they can hide him until she finds out a way to tell their parents.
Well, if you two hide him, just till I figure out a way to explain him to Mom and Dad,
Yeah.
What?
I promise not to pull any pranks on you for 3 months.
For real?
You swear?
What? Don't believe her, she's evil! Alright, forgetting the fact that she has lied to you dozens of times before, when she tells your parents, you will have no leverage. So what makes you think she'll keep her promise? Especially if they say no, she will probably drown you. And they don't even bring up the idea of a farm or kennel or, someplace where their parents won't find him. Nope, they just agree to keep him in their room, which really isn't any more safe than Megan's room, so whatever. The next day, the boys return home after Drake passes math tests and they decide to celebrate with pudding. Which, to be fair, is the only way to celebrate. But they find out that the sheep tore up their room because, yeah, that's what happens when you don't leave the sheep outside or in the garage. It's not like your parents are home or anything. Also, how did that thing get on the top bunk? Are sheep jumpers? I don't know. My knowledge on sheep is limited. Megan comes in and somehow hears from all the way across the room that the sheep is breathing weird. Really? We're doing the animal is sick thing now? Yeah, that's one of the episode's main problems. Because the first half wasted our time with Megan being a bitch and algebra problems, then that means the second half has to rush through everything so we can call this episode Sheep Thrills instead of Sheep Shenanigans.
Then drive us to a vet.
Right. In what car? Mom and Dad aren't home.
Oh, man.
What are we gonna do?
Oh, Dr. Glazer across the street.
He's a people doctor.
So? Which better than nothing?
Yeah, come on, dog anatomy is pretty close to human anatomy, right?
You see, Critic, these guys don't have an excuse, since Drake has a lot of friends who would probably be able to give them a ride. In fact, that actually probably would have been hilarious. Why didn't they do that? The doctor comes over, and him eating may have been funny if I hadn't seen the exact same joke in the Amanda show. They go upstairs and find out that the sheep has just given birth. No one checked to see if that thing was a boy or a girl. And I don't care what world this show takes place in, a newborn sheep does not look that adorable. And if it was pregnant, then it makes even less sense that it got onto the top bunk. Everything with this doctor is awful. He isn't funny, and the boys end up losing $150 to him. Because it's funny when they get punished for doing the right thing. Later that day, after spending $20 on sheep food, the mother escapes, which takes them way longer to realize than it should have. And then we get some lame shtick forcing Drake to pretend to have something in his eye while Josh tries to find the sheep, which somehow not only managed to teleport out of the kitchen in less than 5 seconds, but open the door to the garage. I know, Josh, you could lie and say there's a sheep there and you don't know where it came from. Why does no one ever try that in these types of stories?
All right, then. Well, it might be coming from the alternator unless...
Why are you laughing? He is probably in serious pain. Drake manages to get the sheep out and Josh leaves, leaving his dad stunned.
There's the culprit.
Why didn't you bring the sheep up to our room?
Oh, I couldn't. What if Mom turns around and sees me?
You already got it, Pastor. All you have to do is go up the damn steps. So they throw an avocado at a lamp, probably making it easier for their mom to see them, and they make it back upstairs. Hey, remember this line?
It's amazing how much we can learn from animals.
Like what? What have you learned from the sheep other than that they can apparently teleport?
I'm gonna go downstairs and make sure Mom and Dad aren't suspicious.
Wait, we're doing this already? Holy shit, this thing's almost over. You see, maybe this is why you should have cut out that shit with Megan in the beginning. Maybe your pacing would have been better. And here's where we get to the really bad part, the part I was building up to. You know that sarcastic tone of voice the characters in bad shows and episodes use when they are scolding people who don't deserve it? Yeah, that's the parents' entire dialogue in this scene.
Yeah, all right, you know what? This is all Megan's fault.
Here we go again.
She bought the big one online.
Yeah, and then it gave birth on my bed.
Okay. So you want us to believe that a sweet little 11-year-old girl somehow managed to go on the internet and buy herself a pregnant sheep?
Yes, you could go online right now and get coyote piss. I'm pretty sure a sheep isn't that hard to find.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay, this episode might be able to save itself if Megan gets in trouble with them.
What are you guys talking? Wow, a sheep. Aw. Where'd you guys get him?
Fuck yeah!
Schuppiduppdidu, ich bin der Babu, streif kreuz und quer im Wald umher und brauche keine Schuhe.
Alright, here's the problem. The reason this episode is worse than those other ones I mentioned is that you can make an argument, a weak one, that in those episodes, Drake and Josh kinda deserve the torment given to them. In Peruvian Puff Pepper, they stole Megan's property, even though she bought something illegal. In Megan's Revenge, they snuck into a room and killed her hamster, even though it wasn't actually dead. However, in this episode, they did nothing wrong. They didn't hurt the sheep, they didn't have any hatred for the sheep, they even went out of their way and against all logic to keep their promise for Megan. Sure, Drake tried to give the lamb soda, but that's just because he's an idiot. You may argue that the fact that they were lying to their parents was the reason they were punished, but here's the thing, Megan lied too, and in fact she is actually continuing to lie. So this episode is either punishing Drake and Josh for doing the right thing, or not punishing Megan for doing the wrong thing. You can't have it both ways, guys. Either they're both in the right, or they're both in the wrong. Pick one.
How long are we grounded?
A month.
You both can burn in the 7th ring of hell. You know what I just realized? This episode is what people who don't like Just for Sidekicks think Just for Sidekicks is. For those who don't know, Just for Sidekicks is an episode of MLP where Spike pretty much forced his friends to let him take care of their pets. He did it only to get Gems' payment, and less than halfway through the episode, he tried to push the pets off onto 3 kids who were not responsible, or sane enough, to take care of them. And you know what? He still won in the end! If Drake and Josh had tried to pawn the sheep off, hated the sheep, or even came up with the deal, then this episode may have had a point. But because they didn't, then it ends up with the same moral as Foster's Goes to Europe. If you try to do something nice, you'll receive nothing but pain. So they cut to a month later and we learn that the sheep are now at a petting zoo, which makes this episode pretty much a complete waste of time, but whatever. They hear a noise coming from the garage, they go down and find that Megan has bought a zebra. I don't know if they tell their parents, and I don't think the episode cares because it ends right there and the end credits don't really tell us anything. It's just a deleted scene from earlier that isn't funny. This episode was bad! As a story, it's rushed and generic. Moral-wise, it's all kinds of screwed up with one of the most reprehensible endings in any television show. As a comedy, occasionally the actors can get a laugh, but for the most part, it's just boring. So you know what? Fuck it. This episode sucks. It wasted my time, but I'm not gonna waste any more of your time talking about it. Like I said, there are good episodes of this show out there. Just be a little cautious whenever you see this little abomination. Now what? Yeah, a box. I wonder what it could possibly be. What could I possibly have got? Dear Nordy, thought you'd enjoy a physical copy for a change. With love, DS. Whatever. Can't be any worse than what I just had to say. Holy shit.